were in the bus when their colleague parents called them that they had arrived at the schools, and the information was that the students are supposed to come back on the 5th of May. Now, I've seen two statements that came out. The first one was on GES website, and the statement suggested that CHAS recommended that the students should stay at home. I'm just wondering why the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools would decide that at this crucial moment, when the students are being prepared towards their exams, will tell government, will advise government that they should stay at home. Then later, the statement you see on the screen also appeared. But the conflicting statement and the funny aspect of the whole thing is that if you look at the first paragraph on this particular page, it talks about the students, and it makes reference to, I think, April 7 and said today. Meanwhile, the statement was signed on April 6th. So you see that there was a rush in the issuance of the statement. So you see 6th April there, but one of the paragraphs makes reference to April 7 as today. And today is April 7. So I don't know whether they were speaking to yesterday or they were speaking to today. And so it only raises more suspicion. It raises more suspicion. Don't forget that just about a few weeks ago, the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools issued a 2-week ultimatum to government that if schools were not given their supplies, you know, it's free education, and so the headmasters don't buy food. The buffer stock company buys food and supplies these schools. There are issues with it. And you remember the buffer stock company admitted that, yes, but they blamed the delay in the supplies on COVID-19. And the 2 weeks has elapsed, and students are supposed to go back, and we hear that final year students must stay home. And most of the parents are wondering how they are going to cope in terms of raising teachers to manage their children within this period. These are the concerns. In fact, the messages I followed on some of the platforms which posted very, very harsh. Very, very harsh.
I mean, I can understand the frustration.
Why should it be a frustration? Look, if government has challenges, government must be frank with Ghanaians, because many people still say, is it about money? If it's about money, why won't you allow us to pay so that our children will be in school and get the best conditioning to learn? That is the issue. Abna, I don't know whether any of your children is in SHS.
No, not there yet. That's what I was saying this morning, that it seems very far away from me, but I should be getting involved at this point.
Because it looks abstract to you until it gets that close. I am that close, and so I can appreciate what many parents are going through. And look, I don't know who is telling the truth, whether CHAS is compromising, whether the teacher unions are not concerned about the plight.
To this extent, look, because then their jobs will be on the line. The truth is that I'm sure the economy is suffering. They've been saying this since last year.
And then there is another issue. In fact, yesterday I saw the picture of the small boy who was murdered at Kaswa. And this was a post with her mother. I came across it on one of the social media platforms. So that's the small boy on the screen. But I deliberately spent about 2 minutes just looking into the eyes of the boy, watching the smile on his face, and I looked at the palm of the mother on his chest, obviously suggesting that this is motherly love. You could see the bond. And then you wake up one day, and this beautiful boy, who perhaps had bright future, will be murdered by children. Abna.
You know how these stories make me feel, especially this morning when I saw the father had an interview apparently on Adum and said that the boy asked that he come home because he had missed him. So he came home because of the boy. And also after
and another statement as I came website is suggesting the approach action by these teenagers was a result of the spiritualist on TV. Yes, but
they said they were watching.
Maybe later on the program, I'll show categorically the statement attributed to him, and he says that it's a lazy approach. And I asked myself, when he was editor of Daily Graphic, would he have approached this story the same way? Too, as chairman of the National Media Commission, is he brushing aside this concern about what is indoctrinating the moral fabric of this country. So it looks as if people all of a sudden get posts and they are
Eric, to a certain extent, I think I sort of understand him. Maybe I would use different words.
Don't let me be angry with you this morning.
No.
Understanding you are compromising on principles.
It's not about compromising.
Are you comfortable with malams who are asking people what to do to make money?
We are looking at this from the end point.
Where end point means?
This is the thing. These malams and pastors also advertise on social media. Let's not forget.
I am saying that the platform that can be controlled, what can we do about it as a people?
We definitely need to do something about it. Take it off air. I mean, whatever it is that we need to do to take them off air, we should do it, because in the end of the day, whatever it is that is resulting to our children or people patronizing this is still part of the reasons, and so we have to take it off. But my point is that, Eric, these people or these malams also advertise on social media. The Western world, other people, other children also see it as well. Why are they not patronizing these things? Indoctrination or is mindset is what we teach our children, and so if we teach our children certain things, even if they see them on TV, they will think twice.
I am sure that you read the Bible a lot.
I do,
and you know what idle hands can be tempted to do.
Exactly.
And so when children live in these deprived communities, you would understand that these things. And so for me, yes, you talk about the media, you talk about social media. It cannot, some of them cannot be controlled, but there's a process of managing these things that sends signals. And of course, in other countries, there's a way of blocking some of these scenes from appearing. And this is simple technology.
Yes.
But the question many Ghanaians are talking about, or the issue many Ghanaians want to be addressed, is the formal media space that is controllable. That is what we are talking about. But there's another issue, one of our own, Obobia. You know, there is something that is trending on social media she's not happy about. And you see it on the screen. It was moving around social media platforms that she wants to contest as the National Women's Organizer of the NDC. In fact, she has come out, she has issued an open statement, and she says that it is fake. And I believe that because it's one of our own, we can also use our platforms to assure the public that, look, she's focused, and of course.
But I wouldn't mind because she speaks really well.
I'm saying that she says that.
She says it's not, but I'm saying I wouldn't mind if she considers it. We'll take a break.
Yes, Obobia, one of our own, and whenever I talk about one of our own, you know, it's obvious. Pause for 3. She gives us a lot of motivational messages.
On Mondays and Thursdays.
Mondays and Thursdays. And tomorrow she'll be on the screen.
Yes.
She brightens the screen apart from pumping something into your head to at least shape you. Be taking a break. Why are you laughing?
Welcome to Auto Check Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many Accra.
Sure.
Check, auto checks. Check, auto checks. Check.
Emission, check.
Check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks. Check, auto checks.
Brakes, check. Visit Auto Checks at Koforidua Aquadrum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Check, auto checks.
Auto checks. Check.
Auto Checks. Your safety, our priority.
Check, auto checks.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For our Kwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
If I cry na menyisika, edia ye mefui.
Ehin fa na menya bosia, edia tre medjuma yimu.
Kai kra mabre, miye busia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yemamwa kwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodoɔ bi te sɛ dwadifo abosia, ekuro bosia, susu account, and it does wɔ hɔ savings account, me bada chain savings account, and the keka ho. Press Suhum Rural Bank was 034229186. Na won so wetu mi aka sɛ.
Suhum Rural Bank. Ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank. Enti me pa minie.
Me damwase.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
Welcome to Auto Check Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many hour crash.
Sure.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check.
Emission, check.
Check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks, check, auto checks.
Brakes, check.
Visit Auto Checks at Koforodia Aquadrum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Check, auto checks.
Auto checks. Check.
Auto Checks. Your safety, our priority.
Check.
I'm laughing because Malik, my DOP, I'm calling his name. He was saying Levi Keshani School because we're talking about the SHS. But again, welcome back. This is the morning update. If you just tuned in, we are yet to start with our newspaper review. I have the Daily Graphic, the Chronicle, the Daily Dispatch, and of course, I have the Herald. Eric, which ones do you have?
Well, I have the Ghanaian Times, the Daily Post, and the Business and Financial Times.
Okay, so do you want me to start?
Yes, I want to start with Michael Dokosi's paper. Yesterday was his birthday. I wanted to wish him happy birthday, but I don't know what happened. It just went off.
We keep forgetting.
So, Michael Dokosi, good morning and happy birthday. If you are not listening now, I believe somebody will call you to tell you. He's a good friend. I always argue with him on different issues. Accra sewerage systems to expand its operations. An NDC caucus reveals how NPP has messed up free SHS with students being fed with near expired food items. I've seen a statement issued by the minority group in Parliament. It was signed by Dr. Clement Apak. I'm sure in the course of our program, we'll read excerpts and see the controversies he has raised in that publication. Now, page 5 of the Daily Post says, media reports on dead fish and other aquatic mammals washed ashore in Accra and Axim Biwa worrying. And the details are in the page 5 of Michael Dokosi's Daily Post newspaper. I'm going to go with yours.
Okay, so then I'll start with the Daily Graphic. And the banner story says that new capital city needed. Now, this is coming from Nana Akua Sapon. During his 45th birthday, during his 45th celebration, this man is 83-year-old. or Manhene, and he's saying that Accra is too fatigued, it's too congested, and so we should be considering having another capital city. Also, another story on the front page of the Daily Graphic is the teenagers who killed the 10-year-old that we have been talking about. Now, they were sent to court, and they said they had planned to demand ransom before the ritual, but they realized it will be difficult kidnapping the boy, and so they decided to just kill him. Now, 38 dolphins released back into the sea. If you have been following stories all over the media platforms, we've been talking about the fishes that washed ashore, and of which about 80 dolphins came out, and it's stating here that 38 dolphins have been released back into the sea. Now, on the back page, it says that military destroys equipment belonging to illegal miners. Now, talking about destroying, yesterday I also saw a news item on Adom where some military personnel have shot down or gunned down a taxi driver who had some timber in his car, and they stopped him, and according to the eyewitnesses, he said, oh, the police had already stopped him and checked his papers, and so he was clear and decided to, so he wasn't sure whether they were stopping him or they were just doing their thing, and the military decided to just, you know, shoot him. Well,
that's one side of the story, but
we wouldn't know because the man is dead.
When you use our highways, especially when you are approaching the forest belt, there are checkpoints. These checkpoints are managed by the Forestry Commission. So you see police and military personnel there. So when the cargo is being transported, they check they have all kinds of papers or documentation that should give you the chance to move the logs or maybe the sliced ones. The reason for this is to prevent people, especially the chainsaw operators, from entering any forest or especially forest reserve to move these products. Now, if the person has gone past a police checkpoint on the highway, the question is, can any military officer in any van, whether pickup or any operation, decide to stop you as part of their spot checks? If it is supposed to be so, then I think the right way is for the institutions involved to send a signal to those involved that, look, these things will happen. Because these days, people in uniform decide to attack ambulances, attack all kinds of people. And so, depending on the time of the day when you are being stopped, you may. But if I am a driver for security reasons, and I think that I'm on a safer side of the stretch, and you want to stop me because you are a security officer, I will stop. If my papers are right, I will stop.
You will, considering that some
it is the same as they tell you that when armed robbers come to your house and they overpower you and they want to take everything, just be calm, let them take away whatever they want.
There are two sides to that story. If it's at a checkpoint, I will stop. If it's not at a checkpoint and it's late, I'm sorry, I'm not stopping.
Okay. All right. So quickly, let me do this one. We will not slip into doom. So Energy Minister assures intermittent power outages. The controversy goes on, and it comes with a picture of Matthew Opoku Prempeh when he visited some of the facilities in the Tema Enclave yesterday. Withdraw Osu Beach dead fishes from the market. Fishes Minister orders fisher folk, and that's on the one of the pages, page 10 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. On the news today, you hear what those Osu traders are saying about these issues. Now, the conduct of some NPP MPs and members might lead us into opposition in 2024 if, and this is attributed to Kennedy Ejapon.
The Chronicle, Mensa Bonsu is still making headlines. He says here that Mensa Bonsu is crossed about Bagvin's NDC appointment. Also, 1,200 importers engaging in shady deals, whereas Kasua Meda blamed on Juju on televisions. And the Daily Dispatch says here that what Akufo-Addo said calls on him to declare his interest in the NPP's 2008 slots. Again, NPP should not underestimate Mahama in the 2024 presidential elections. This is coming from Kennedy Ejapon. And Bagwing has appointed 6 NDC members into office. Again, this is Osei Mensa Bonsu.
Okay, so we'll take a break. Wisdom will join us with the news. We'll be back with some exciting conversations.
If okra na menyisika, Edia ye me fui.
Ehin fapa na menya bosia edia tre medjuma yimu.
Kai kra mabre mi ye busia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yemamu akwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodo bi te sɛ dwadifo abosia, ekokro bosia, susu account. Eni da so wo ho savings account. Me bada chain savings account. Ene de keka ho. Suhum Rural Bank was 034229186. Na won so wetumi aka sɛ
Suhum Rural Bank. Ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank. Enti me pa minie.
Me damwase.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
Welcome back to the morning update. We'll take our news in brief from Wisdom Hedejome. Good morning, Wisdom.
Good morning, Abena. And straight ahead, parents of SHS 3 students react angrily to GA's late decision to reschedule reopening date, further fueling suspicions of a cover-up. Findings of investigations into dead fishes washed ashore to be ready by Friday, but it's emerging measures to prevent consumption as mere lip service. We'll tell you why. Also coming up, Lotto operators issued 2-week ultimatum to President Nana Akufo-Addo to resolve the impasse at NLA or face DRF. And no official details for public consumption yet on Zenu jailbreak more than 72 hours after incident. Details coming up. Many thanks for your company this morning. My name is Wisdom Hedejime. We begin the story from the education sector because parents of final year SHS students are fuming with anger amidst uncertainty about the fate of their children ahead of this year's West African Senior Secondary Certificate Examination, WASSCE, following the late decision to reschedule their reopening date. Many of the angry parents had traveled across regions to drop their awards only to be told of the return because of the new directive. There is more in this report.
Parents who called TVXYZ News to share their frustration said their anger stems from the late notice after many had traveled miles across regions with their awards only to be told to return home and report on May 5. One angry text message read, "In fact, I am on a bus to Kumasi. When I checked on our school platforms, the school has not put any official statement on any of them. However, a friend of mine just spoke with me. He sent his daughter to Wesley Girls High School and they have been told of the new reopening date. So all the parents are going back with their SHS daughters." Our news team checks indicate the official notice signed by Cassandra Chum Ampofo, Head of Public Relations of the Ghana Education Service, was dated April 6, that's yesterday. But paragraph 3 of the statement reads, quote, "Ordinarily, the Form 3 students were to have reported to school today, April 7, and will be in school until 28th May 2021. But a critical analysis of the statement indicates that the April 7 date exposes the rush in releasing the statement. But it went further to say that the students were to have gone on vacation from the 28th May to the 29th of June 2021. It obviously confirmed many parents who had traveled long distances were not informed, hence the angry reaction.
School no say na ekoso no ye man nkasa omo mbo modern. Enti school no aye basa. Obi mu tifie, obi mu ko school. Ye nti ase. Me de ka me nko anka school na ye ko me mpe. The
Ghana Education Service says under the current arrangement, the SHS 3 students will have to stay in school from May 5 till they write their final year exams. It also said this will not affect the prescribed 1,080 instructional hours needed prior to the West African Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination. But
Some of those who spoke to our news team simply described the statement and excuses adduced as flimsy.
And they should go back to the drawing board. There's still time. I understand that some of them are not yet going back to school. So there's still time. They can use a week or two, to re-strategize and then come up with the best solution to assess the student. Just don't pass anybody because there's COVID. Post-COVID, at least, should rather strengthen our institutions and then to bring out the best.
Well, from 3, it's about school. Most they move funny because I can't cry. Move treasure. What's up at Nevian Busum Bacono? Your treasure over there over passy. And the school now con there 0.
It will be recalled that on January 5 this year, government released what it described as the calendar for the 2021 SHS academic year. Director General of the GES, who addressed a press briefing, said the first semester will begin from January to June, while the second semester would start from July to December 2021. Announcing the details, he said fresh SHS students will begin their first semester from March to June 2021 and vacate from July to August, while the second semester shall begin from September to December. This was after the continuing students had stayed home for close to 8 months due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, let's turn attention to some other stories because the crisis facing the National Lotteries Authority, which compelled the president to ask the MD and vice to go, is far from over. Private lotto operators have issued a 2-week ultimatum to the President Nana Akufo-Addo to address their standing issues threatening their businesses or face their wrath. They addressed a news conference yesterday. The 2-week ultimatum comes barely a month after Kofi Osei-Ameyao, together with some board members of the NLA, were forced to leave office by the president. They are accusing the new management of the NLA, led by Acting Director General Ernest Mote, for deliberately working to cede the operations of NLA to a private operator, KGL. They say KGL is indebted to the NLA to the tune of 20 million for the year 2020. According to the association, KGL, which is operated by persons at the presidency, is acting under the guise of bailing out the NLA. GLOA says the president must act immediately and conduct investigations into KGL's lotto activities and investigate the veiled attempt carefully convinced and orchestrated to collapse NLA to allow KGL take over lottery in Ghana for its selfish interest. Addressing a news conference, lawyer for GLOA, Asirifi Kodria, called on the Nana Akufo-Addo-led government, which they accused of benefiting hugely from lotto funds, to act immediately to protect the public purse.
The president has a duty to prevent the unemployment of over 2 million families who are all Ghanaians. The president is hereby being advised not to rely on the advice of some of these close appointees who are behind KGL. The Akufo-Addo government is being asked to immediately cause an investigation into KGL's lotto activities and also investigate the vile attempts carefully conceived and orchestrated to collapse NLA to allow KGL to take over lottery in Ghana for its selfish interest and to create a new monopoly over online lottery in Ghana. GLOA will use its strength and resources to canvass the support of the Ghanaian lotto public to resist the illegal schemes of government appointees at the presidency and expose their shady deals.
They have since given a 2-week ultimatum for the president to act or face their wrath. Lawyer Asirifi Kodria said members of GLOA are voters who have right to protect their livelihood no matter the consequence.
The Ghana Lotto Operators Association is serving 2 weeks' notice to the president to resolve all the private sector lotto issues, failing which the association will advise itself and its numerous supporters to take the necessary actions. What must be remembered by all is that the private sector lotto operators are voters who have the right to protect their livelihoods.
Now let's turn attention to the two-teen ritual murderers. Now yesterday, they appeared in court for the first time and have since been remanded in police custody to appear on the 20th of this month.
There was heavy security presence at the Ofankor District Court to prevent any eventualities before the suspects arrived. Scores of curious residents had thronged there to catch a glimpse at them amidst tension, invectives and threats. The two teenagers, Felix Nyako and Nicholas Kini, have been slapped with 2 charges, murder and conspiracy to commit murder, and are to reappear on April 20. The court presided over by Her Lordship Rosamond Vera Oklu. In her decision to remand the suspect, asked the police to keep them in their custody to assist investigations. According to the suspects, a spiritualist whom they discovered through national television agreed to help them become instant billionaires by demanding human parts and 5,000 cedis. The identity of the said spiritualist has not been made public, and it is not yet clear if the police has picked any other suspects. TVXYZ News learned neighbors in the Muslim community gathered at the family house early morning after the burial to console the relatives for the painful loss. It was a solemn atmosphere as many of the adults gathered sat in pensive mood reflecting about the bizarre incidents. Meanwhile, the deceased has since been buried according to the Muslim tradition. He was allegedly killed by their playmate, who are said to have hit him repeatedly with cement blocks in an uncompleted house where he was buried, with the plan to exhume the body later for the money rituals. Many are still yet to come to terms with the heinous crime by 2 junior high school students and whether other accomplices live in the neighborhood or are on the run.
Well, it's expected that the police will release their body to their family for burial as been expected. Well, let's do some other stories because the FDA says result of ongoing investigations into samples taken from dead fishes washed ashore at some beaches across Ghana's coastal line over the weekend should be ready by Friday. But it's emerging consumers may still be exposed in spite of the assurances. Government response was swift as news broke about the dead fishes washed ashore, particularly at Osu here in Accra. Officials of the EPA, the District Assembly, the FDA and other regulatory bodies immediately retrieved and buried the contaminated fishes. The Food and Drugs Authority has since intensified public education targeting market queens. According to the FDA, it has retrieved and disposed of some of the fishes washed ashore over the weekend from the market. But it appears they are yet to visit the Osu market, which is at the center of the public concern. At the time of our visit just before midday, the market queen was yet to arrive, but her deputy, Faustina Semanyo, spoke to us. According to her, no officials from any of the regulatory agencies had officially engaged them. Her concerns come 3 days after the contaminated or poisoned fishes were washed ashore. I first asked her about how fishmongers received the news.
We heard about it, but to be sure of it, we saw people carrying it around, but they did not bring it inside those markets.
None of such fishes is available in the market?
Yes, it's not available here. It's not available because we did not hear it early. We hear it on Saturday. So we haven't seen some in those markets. And the only thing we will do is, if we saw somebody carry some in the market, we can stop the person not to bring it inside the market.
Will you be able to identify such fishes?
That is our big problem. That is our big problem. Because we can do that, because if they carry it, you can't hear any sense of it.
Okay, so for the regulatory bodies, the FDA, the EPA, have you seen their presence in the market?
No, we haven't seen some in those markets, but we don't know the other markets. But this market, we haven't seen anything like that here.
But have you picked any leads? Maybe they'll be coming later.
If they come later, we'll be waiting for them. But at sure now, they haven't been here.
The FDA says hopefully their investigations into samples taking should be made public by close of this week. The FDA says a team which has also visited the Axim municipality in the western region and the Osu Mandela market in the Korle Klote municipality will consistently engage the traders. The assurance comes amidst fears some recalcitrant ones may sort the fish for what in local parlance is called momone, raising more concerns. But head of the Department of Marine and Fisheries Sciences at the University of Ghana, Professor Francis Nunu says, for now, it may be safer for the public to stay away from salted fish, popularly known as momone. Let's do some security issues now because the police in Tema are tight-lipped about the jailbreak at Zenu involving 12 inmates last Sunday. Now, the incident has revived concerns about laxity at some police stations and lip services to promises to fortify them after the sad death of then Chief Inspector Emmanuel Ashilevi, then at the Kwabenya police station.
To reports, 12 inmates escaped from a police cell after pouring hot porridge over the face of an officer on duty at the time on Sunday dawn. Details of the violent cell break at Zenu Atadeka in the Katamanto municipality are still sketchy. TVXYZ News has learnt one fugitive has been arrested. More than 48 hours after the incident, the Tema Regional Police Command is yet to speak to the issue. Our news team was directed by the Greater Accra Regional Police Command to speak to Tema. But the Public Relations Officer, Chief Inspector Stella Dede Jakpasu, says she is yet to be briefed by the Regional Command and cannot give details. The Zenu jailbreak comes barely 3 years after a similar incident at the Kwabenya District Police Station. It will be recalled that the assailants on that fateful day, January 21, 2018, killed a senior police officer, Chief Inspector Emmanuel Ashilevi, before freeing inmates. The sad news triggered widespread public debate, and the Vice President, Dr. Mahamadou Baumia, who personally attended the funeral service, promised to install CCTV cameras at all police stations. Listen.
Negotiations have just been completed for the rollout of Phase 2 of the Alpha project, which will involve the deployment of 8,700 CCTV cameras in all 216 districts, with 3 command centers in Accra, Kumasi, and Tamale.
TVXYZ News checks indicate the Zenu police station has none. The situation is similar as several other facilities, especially those in violence-prone areas, raising questions about what may have stalled the project.
And before we go, MP for Medina, Xavier Sosu, over the weekend provided free medical screening and other services to over 3,000 beneficiaries from poor communities in his constituency. Now, the initiative covered blood pressure, blood sugar, malaria, and others.
The initiative by human rights lawyer Francis Sosu, now serving his first term as MP for the Medina constituency in Accra, forms part of his outreach program to mark the Easter festivities. The free medical outreach involved free tests for blood pressure, blood sugar, malaria, weight and body mass index. Beneficiaries from all walks of life, particularly the disadvantaged, also benefited from free medical care consultation and treatment, as well as a health talk on some preventive measures to stay healthy. The exercise, according to his team, took place concurrently at the Pantine village, which catered for residents from the rural areas in the constituency, and in Kwantanai, which targeted the urban folks. MP for Medina, who spoke to the media, observed with concern the difficulty many faced in renewing their NHIS cards. Lawyer Sosu also spoke about poor sanitation and hope services rendered by the seasoned medical officers and workers engaged would make a great impact on the people.
Every quarter, the vans will be available and we'll be running through the communities from time to time, and people with medical conditions will be attended to. As you can see today, you can see Focus Orthopedic Hospital here, and their goal is to be partners of a program like this, because they also live in this community, so that we can reach out. But it takes visionary leadership to rally these resources together to reach out to the people, and that is exactly what I am providing for the people.
He also said besides the health initiative, his office is targeting job creation, health among others, in collaboration with state agencies and the private sector.
And on that note, we end this midweek's edition of News in Brief, or Morning Update. As always, do log on to my xyzonline.com for more news stories and updates. Nana Abenase continues with Morning Update.
Thank you, Wisdom. And also, please do not forget to join the conversations via our WhatsApp number 0556 999 999. We'll be back with our social segment.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For our Kwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many Accra.
Sure.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check.
Emission, check.
Check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks, check, auto checks.
Brakes, check.
Visit AutoChecks at Koforodia Aquadum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks. Check.
AutoChecks. Your safety, our priority.
Check, auto checks.
Over the weekend, a series of events happened. One of such events happened to be the dead fishes we saw at the shores, of which about 80 dolphins came out. And the dead fishes, I actually did see a news item where one woman said she had consumed some. And also, I saw this morning the FDA saying that if you have consumed some, then you should come forward so they can check you as part of the investigations they are conducting on the fishes. Now, this morning, I will be talking to an expert on the phone, Dr. Isaac Ochre, and also in the studio, I have the chief fisherman in Osu, Mr. Nitete Apo Jamloja, also in the studio, and we'll be discussing how this indeed has affected the fishermen and the going forward what is going to be done about it and their expectations as well. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for talking to us this morning.
Thank you.
So, were you at the scene, or you heard about it and rushed to the scene?
Okay. I was at the shore on Friday morning.
Right.
I saw people collecting fish from the sea. But it's normal sometimes. It used to happen.
Okay.
Years back, it happens severally. So we thought it's a normal thing that used to happen, so don't take it serious.
Right.
Till the next day, we found out that the type of fish coming out and the number of fish coming it's not.
So it was disturbing.
It's not normal, like as we know.
Okay.
So that's what gave us the idea that no, we have to check what is happening, because normally it used to happen and we pick them maybe 15, 20 at one place. But these things stretch from Jamestown up to half of La.
Okay.
So we saw that no, the quantity of fish coming out, then there must be a problem. So we called the assembly.
Okay.
They also called Food and Drugs Board. The police came there. So they picked some of the fish for samples so that they will check what actually happened. So by doing that, we have to stop people from picking it.
So people picked some earlier?
People picked some earlier.
Were you able to trace them?
Okay, we trace some.
Okay.
Yeah, because we work from the Ag Center to Obenesu, and we find out some people are consuming it. Some people are also dressing the fish for
sell.
For consumption.
Okay.
They want to cook it, so we advise them that it's not good.
So they
should give it to us. So we buried those fishes.
Yeah. Once you know that I've taken it, have there been any complaints so far? From the people who took it earlier?
Oh yeah. Like
those that ate it, those who consumed it.
Nobody have complained of anything. Yeah. Even my family.
But you gave the names to the FDA and the commission who came around.
Those who consume it.
Yes. Did you take their details?
No, I know them, but they didn't ask for that. They just pick a sample of a fish so that they will check and give us the feedback of what has happened. Okay. Yes.
All right. So you're saying they didn't ask for those that have consumed the fishes?
No.
Because I know that they've said that if anybody has taken, then they should come forward. So I'm thinking you should probably alert them.
Yesterday, the Minister of Fisheries and the Minister of Information came around. They came to our place. So they said if anyone have consumed, at least about 3 people came out and said, "Oh, we have consumed it already." So I advised them that if they feel something in their body, they should let us know.
Okay.
So that because they are my family members.
Oh, okay.
Most of them are my family members.
Was that what you were going to say about your family members earlier? You were talking about your family members.
That's what I'm saying. They also consume some, because it's normal thing that used to happen. We just see fishes coming out, maybe 20, 25 or something. Then people one were not in abundance. But this one came in an abundance. It was also the number of fishes that came out gave us suspicious that no, there's something going on in the sea.
Which means that you do not, because initially we heard that this the fishermen were saying that means is going to be a bountiful harvest. Do you still stand by that, or no? Now you've changed that completely.
No, you see, that's what I'm saying, that it used to happen. So we thought it was the normal thing that happened. So when the fishes start coming, I was there. I saw some people entering the sea and collect them one by one, not in abundance. But later, the things start coming in abundance. And the number of fishes and the type of fishes coming out, some of the fishes have a very strong heart. Some of them, you catch them and they will be there about 4 hours, they won't die. You see, but all those fishes are dead.
Right.
So we saw that no, this is something going on. So we have to check and make sure, because if we don't check, the other fishes will be affected too. And these fishes have to give birth to,
right,
so that we can get more fish. And they are all dying.
Right.
So we have to quickly do something about it. That's why we call in the assembly and other experts to do.
I mean, as experienced as you are, and I'm sure that because of the position that you are in, which is being the chief fisherman, you also have conversations with people in the same occupation as you. Do you have any suspicions as to why this is happening?
Yes. I called Jamestown that day.
Okay.
Because they are our close neighbor. I call her because we are in between. They are our neighbors. So for the first time, they say he hasn't experienced anything. But later, they said they find some there, because that the thing is coming from Accra, Jamestown side, to our place then. But our place is the most quantity place that the fishes wash ashore. So I was making an investigation from Choco. Okay. Choco says they haven't experienced anything.
Right.
So I came back to Mwa. They said no. I went as far as Pram Adan, find out what is happening. I called Western Region and Central Region also, because I'm more or less now the Ghana National Canoe Fishermen Council acting chairman.
Okay.
So I have to call all the regions and find out whether something is happening there. But they said there's nothing happening at their shores.
Right.
So I have to come back and say that no, then the thing is just here. So I have to find out what is happening. And because the experts pick the samples, we have to wait for. But due to the holidays, the Easter festivities, so they couldn't make the search immediately. So from yesterday, we are waiting for a result so that we can know.
How bad is this for you, considering that this is how some, I mean, all the people under it, this is how they feed. So how bad is this?
You see, when the thing happened, the news came out that we are selling this bad fish. So that standstill on our market. The market is not moving because people are afraid that they will take a poisonous or contaminated fish home. So people start going back. We are advised them. The media came there that very day, and some of my fishermen landed fish, and I showed them the difference.
Okay.
That they can see clearly that this fish is different. Or we go far. Normally, also we use hook and line, and one fish, one hook. So we go far from the shore.
Okay.
And these particular fishes, they are just at the shore. At the shore, yes. They don't go far. So, and you can use hook to pick those fish. Is a net that we use for those fishes.
Right.
So it's not part of our fish that we normally take. Locally, we pick one, but normally it's a net.
Right. So is it still safe to go and fish now?
Oh, we are fishing.
Have to wait.
We are fishing. And
you are fishing.
Yes, and the fish that we bring come from far, and they are awesome. They are very clear fish.
How do you know that whatever it is that affected the others? Because you see, even coronavirus, we all react to it differently. So what if some of the fishes still have whatever it is that the dead ones have, but they are just not showing the signs? Do you think it's still safe?
We have a way of checking.
How do you check?
Yes. We check from the head.
The head?
Normally, yeah. You see from the eyes, you see from the head this side.
Okay.
You see that it will change color.
Okay.
But so I showed the media that came there that they should see the difference. This is different from the one that was ashore. So they should let the public know that our fish The one that we brought is okay, so everybody can consume it.
Right. So I'm also aware that you're facing some sorts of challenges with regards to the Chinese fishing with heavy machineries over there. Can you tell me into detail what exactly that is doing to your industry?
For these trawlers, if we talk about it,
but we have to talk about it.
It's a big blow for this industry.
Right.
They have something called cycle.
Okay.
Fishermen use local canoe. Then they will contact the trawlers.
Okay.
The fishes that they are not supposed to fish, the small pelagic and other fishes for artisanal fishermen. Law says they shouldn't take that fish.
They shouldn't take that.
They should make bottle trawling. These are surface fishes.
Okay.
They will take those fish and sell it to the artisanal canoes. And those canoes don't use net. They don't use anything. They just go there and take the fish from the trawlers. And I'm telling you, one trawler can take those fish about 400 canoes. What 400 canoes can take? A trawler will take those fishes. And some of them are small, very small. And in law, you have to allow every fish to spawn at least once. And one fish can give birth to about 50,000. One fish.
Yeah.
So you just imagine when they take this fish, they haven't spawned, and they put them in coasters. The type of fishes that we have to get at the shore to feed the nation, we go and put them in this, and then wait for them to spawn before they pick them. So that is not fishermen don't have it. They don't get it because when they go, these fishes have been collected already by the trawlers. That's what brought all this light fishing, and because they are not getting it. I'm not saying they are doing the right thing.
Right.
But sometimes you use your money to do all those things, then go to fishing with that fish.
Right.
So they are compared to do all sort of things.
No, don't worry. You can put it on silence and then we'll continue.
So these are some of the impact that we are getting the industry through the fishing trawlers. And sometimes they dump some of the fishes inside the sea.
Okay.
Because when they land it, they'll be arrested. And they are aware.
Okay.
So
when they dump them, if you bring it out and dump them, are they not dead?
They are dead. And they dump them in the sea.
So don't you think that all of these activities have contributed to what we are experiencing now?
No,
we cannot.
I can't tell that's what happened. But these are the activities is collapsing the industry. Because as I was saying, if one trawler can take about 400 canoes fish.
Right.
Let me tell you, this industry is taking care of 10% of the population. That is in terms of in terms of job creation. 10%. So you just imagine when these trawlers are doing this to us. You go to the coast and you find certain fish that are not at the landing beaches. And they are supposed to be caught by the artisanal fishermen, the canoes.
Right.
But they are not getting it, but it's in the coastal. And when you test that fish, you can see that they are like a rubber or chewing gum.
Which means that they are not.
You see, but when you take a fresh fish, you know. When you go to our market right now, you come to our landing beach also, and you buy a fresh fish, and you taste that one, and you taste it's different.
Okay.
You see, so they are collapsing our industry.
Right. So going forward, what do you expect to happen?
Enforcement.
So I can wrap up.
Enforcement.
Right.
Because we have LI, that means that says these activities shouldn't go on. Okay.
So I'm not cutting you. I have Dr. Isaac Ochre on the line. I'll quickly talk to him and then come back to you so that you can wrap up. He's a scientist and a senior lecturer at the Department of Fisheries. Hello, sir. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, and good morning to your listeners as well.
Right, thank you for talking to us. Now, with regards to the issue of the dead fishes, what are from the expert point of view, what are the suspicions? Because we do know that FDA is conducting some tests and it will be ready, according to them, by Friday. But at this point, I'm sure that there are some sort of suspicions that have come up.
Yeah. So I think a number of investigations are underway. We have recorded 2 separate incidents, and usually because they both occurred at nearly the same time, people are trying to mix them up. Perhaps they could have a similar or same cause. The causes may also be different. That one day we woke up, I think about 5-6 days ago, and fishes were dead ashore in Accra. And then a couple of days later, a few days, 3 or 4 days later, a mass stranding of dolphins occurred at Axim.
Axim, yeah.
The causes of the death of the fishes are underway. Investigations on the possible causes of the death of the fishes are underway.
Right.
But let's take a look at the dolphins. They did not arrive at the beach dead. They all came alive.
Right.
All the accounts we have had from eyewitnesses. And when they got to the shore, they began displaying some of their social behaviors that we know about. So perhaps ideally they should have been assisted or escorted back into the sea. Usually, marine mammals like that, dolphins especially, they get stranded in coastal waters around people's shores. And when it happens like that, you escort them. You don't kill them. But then, unfortunately, it happened that after they came closer to the shore, people started butchering them.
Right. How is this different? How is this different from what the situation that happened in Mozambique? Because apparently there were 111 dolphins found dead at the coast of Mozambique in February, and also last year about 52 dead dolphins were found on the coast of the Indian Ocean, the island of Mauritius. Is this different?
Yes. So it's different to find dolphins dead at your coast from finding them stranded. There is a difference. Finding organisms dead, the causes may be different from what may be accounting for finding them stranded.
Yes, I agree, but the 52 that were found were not dead. They were not dead, and so the experts were attributing it to a barotrauma. So could it be the same or similar to what happened here?
Yes, that is why investigations are also underway in our waters
right.
on what may have happened at least within a couple of weeks or two weeks to 1 month ago in our waters. We are investigating everything that may have happened from seismic activities
right.
to sonar activities as well.
Okay.
We should take note that the dolphins that were assisted by the police and the fisheries commission or officials back into the sea, they found their way back. We didn't have any incidents of even after assisting them back into the sea. Some died or we had mortality.
Right.
So we have not had any account of that.
Okay. All right. Because of time, I would have to drop the conversations here, but I'm sure that we would call you again to have an extensive conversation to, enlighten people more on the issue at hand. So thank you for talking to us this morning, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I'm grateful.
Thank you, too. Now, also, please, quickly, can you wrap up for me? You were saying something about what you expect going forward, so I can quickly... Yeah.
I'm saying... there should be enforcement.
Right.
Because the laws are there. So we should enforce the law.
Right.
So everybody will do the right thing. I don't think we are the only fishermen in this, how do you call it, this world.
Right.
We have fishermen elsewhere, some of the countries. And the laws are working.
Right.
So everything is going on smoothly.
Okay.
But it's like Ghana, the enforcement is not.
It's not there.
Right. So we should work on the enforcement.
Okay. Thank you so much for talking to us this morning. I'm grateful.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so we have been talking about the dead fishes and also the dolphins we saw ashore incident. And I spoke to Mr. Nita Teapo, the chief fisherman in Osu, and also Dr. Isaac Oche. This has been the social segment on the morning update on TV XYZ, proudly brought to you by X Natural Mineral Water. Stay tuned. Eric will be back.
If I cry na menyisika, edia ye mefui.
Ehinfa pa na menya bosia, edia tre medwuma yimu.
Kai kra mabre, miye bosia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yemamwa kwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hye ahodo bi te se gadifo abosia, ekwokuo bosia, susu account. Eni da so wo ho savings account. Me bada chain savings account. Ene de keka ho. Press Suhum Rural Bank was 03422918696. Na won so wetumi aka se.
Suhum Rural Bank. Ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank. Enti me pa minie.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many Accra.
Sure.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check.
Emission, check.
Check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks, check, auto checks.
Brakes, check.
Visit AutoChecks at Koforidua Aquadrum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks. Check.
Auto checks. Your safety, our priority.
Check. Auto checks.
Welcome back. This is TVXYZ. This is Wezo TV. And at this stage, we shall begin our newspaper review segment. Unfortunately, I'm caught on camera trying to remove my face mask. I'm here alone. I am observing the protocols all the time. But unfortunately, in an attempt to remove it, it looks like it's entangled my earpiece. But I'm safe. I'm here alone. So I want to remove it at this stage. And then we have our show. That's what will happen when you are not well prepared in advance before you are asked to go. So I apologize, but obviously it's normal. I'm now okay for this segment. Yesterday, one issue that many people are worried about is how government is managing the free senior high school program. Many people agree in principle that the initiative is good, and the conversation has always been about whether government must consider the proposal that those who can afford should be given the opportunity to how do you call it, contribute by way of paying, and those who really cannot afford will be given the opportunity to of course benefit from this program. The idea is that government may now have all the money to deal with all the challenges at a go, and because of this, the suggestion has always been that government must weigh the issues and see how we go forward. Now, yesterday, final year students were supposed to report to school. Unfortunately, they have to go back. The controversy has been around the late decision by the Ghana Education Service to announce the new date, May 5, instead of yesterday. Earlier, as we spoke to you about on this program, the GES website had issued a statement. It was very brief, and the statement basically said that upon the advice of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, the government was going ahead to allow the students to stay at home. Then, subsequently, in the course of the day, this statement you see on the screen was issued. It says, management announces for the information of students that and staff and the general public that the reopening of Form 3 students has been postponed to 5th May 2021. And if you check up there, it is 6th April 2021. This is to give the Form 3 students an uninterrupted instructional period till they write their final examination. And then the other part of the statement read, ordinarily, the Form 3 students were to have reported to school today, 6th of April, and to be in school until 28th May 2021. And then they were then to have gone on vacation from the 28th of May to 29th of June 2021. Then it says the current arrangement therefore means that when the final year students report on the 5th of May 2021, they will be in school till they write their WASI exams, perhaps somewhere in September. Management of the GES therefore considers this as a better option, and it goes on and on and on. I don't know what your own opinion is. I've come across a number of text messages I'll share with you. But at this stage, you can also call 556-999-999 or just send us your text message. Let's hear what you also want to share with us. I want to do this before I introduce my guest to you this morning. I went to some of the portals to read some of the text messages, and in fact, they are quite strong. This one says, this is a time to make your family happy and proud. The great chief memory will now be helping you to think about the best way to handle your children, because government indeed is not giving direction on the way forward. This one says the system is working, 4 more to go. So are they still doing the double track thing? Nana must stop this. One other text message read, our second cycle education system make bazaar like something. We are joking in this country. And then more of the messages are screenshot. This one says, Ghana education system is now funny, but not funny. And then let me wake up and work up pass. Dumso educational sector. All those in charge of causing this mess still have a job. not being fired or made to resign. What a joke of the nation. So the indication is that many people are not happy about what is going on. What is your own take? Read this text message, and I'm sorry I've not put them on the screen, but let me read this one. What is all wrong about this? Oh, Lord, we need your help, because this time around we don't want to recognize those who vote for this system. Do you think at this stage that government must acknowledge that it may be too difficult, looking at the budget allocated for the free SHS program, that those who can really afford should give a bite? Do you also believe that the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, the Concerned Teachers Association of Ghana, then you look at even the oversight institutions like the GES, like Parliament Committee on Education, the Public Parent Teachers Association, and so on. What roles can we play to address this problem? These students were home for almost 8 months because of the COVID-19 restrictions. They are back. They were in school for some time, and unfortunately, they have to, return to school only to be told to go home. These are the issues that many people want us to discuss. I'll be waiting for your calls as we continue the program. Nana Dansa Apia is a national communication team member of the NPPs. Join me in the studio. We're also supposed to have a conversation with the MP for Madina, Francis Sosu. In fact, he confirmed more than 4 times, and I'm not too happy about somebody like a member of parliament giving us all the assurances, and then you wake up early morning, his phone is off, and there's no indication, neither from his assistants, that he may not be able to come. I don't think it's fair to people who really want to have these conversations with the stakeholders on board, because it also disrupts what we do. And I'm officially making this complaint, because if you cannot join us, then let us know and then move on. So Francis Sosu, wherever you are, it is my official reaction and complaint that you give us all the assurance, and unfortunately your phone is off. Nothing from your office to help us to understand why you cannot join us this morning. I'm sure somebody will be listening to tell Francis Sosu that this is our complaint, and we don't want these things to happen. Now, Nana Dansa Apia, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. That also.
Yes, the first one is on government. Many people, I'm sure you have seen many reactions on social media about how the final year students were managed. When you heard the announcement, personally, how did you react to it?
Okay, to begin with, I would say a very good morning to your cherished viewers, and a very close friend of mine by name. I think she has this fashion designing outlet by name, I think, Matt Closet. I say a very good morning to her. And then I've seen my very good friend in the person of Abna. Remember last week when I was here, she was
not well.
Yes, I requested.
You said we should give you her
number, and you guys never did. So when I was climbing up, I
didn't know the real intention. That's why I kept
at least, you see, the whole idea is that Abna is sick. So calling her to say, Abna, you're so we are real. At least get well soon.
Some people can
even
take
though
advantage of.
I know, definitely. You know.
Some people can take advantage, and I'm being protective. I'm jealous.
And to be honest, you see, getting closer to her this morning, I saw the real beauty in her, and I was like, "Whoa, I'm 19 now. I'm not for protective."
So that's your response to?
Oh yeah, so but no, that's
okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
You see, to be honest with you, I am totally disappointed. To say the least, I am totally disappointed. I mean, I heard a gentleman, or let's say a schoolboy, who said he had traveled all the way from, is it somewhere around the Volta region to Nalarugu or something like that. And at least you put people on the spot like this. At least I to be honest with you, and in the spirit of fairness, I believe the Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education, they never, or they haven't done well. I just have to be objective and to speak the truth. And you see, that attitude of showmanship and bossiness and that exhibition of arrogance, I know you would stop me, but it's better we make the public or the parents know this. I know most of them will share in what I'm about saying, but where can they voice out their grievance or something? Maybe through the grace of God, I have the power of the mic to make this statement across. This gentleman by name, is it Max Asumensa or something? You were but a maritime journalist, or you were reporting for maritime news at Oman FM or something. And through the grace of God or something, when this party took over, the former director for this school placement by name Dakwa was doing exceedingly well. I don't know why. Are you not
personalizing
the issues? I have to be honest with you, because my brother, people have issues.
What is the relation between the subject now and the school placement issue, for example?
You see, what in your editorial, I heard you, like, there was this text message which was sent to you.
Several of them.
Yes.
And I decided to be measured because I don't want to read some of the harsh ones.
To the effect that whether or not parents should be able to pay some of this, and that the thrust of the whole thing is that we should scrap this school, this free SHS thing or something. That is the import.
No, the import is that some can afford. And so if some can afford and we can segregate them, it will release the pressure on government in terms of monies needed to address the challenge facing the entire program. So it is not about scrapping the entire policy per se.
Eric, this whole thing about people having the edge or having the ability to pay is there. My niece was at St. Rose's, but the father took her from St. Rose's to Akosombo International. As we speak, the girl is, I think, a second-year student of Asashi University. So it is there. People do, because if my daughter or son is enrolled in this free SHS and I think I'm having challenges or something, there are other schools I could take. But that is not to belittle the issue. What I am saying is that people have issues. You see, somebody from Accra would be taken to, let's say, my school, like in Fantepem, and you make the person a day student. What do you expect the person to do? You call this gentleman in the name of this Max Asume, so that I know definitely that because you see what I said. I know for a fact that you tell me the person is not here, for which reason there's no need for me to make mention of the name or personalize the whole issue. But the fact is, my brother, let us call a spade a spade. People have issues. People have issues where at least picking up handset, or at least when they come to you, you should be in the position to at least.
You see what is happening, and the reason why I feel like we may still have a conversation with the school placement where his name may come up, but a little of a deviation is that final year students are supposed to be in school.
Yes.
That is the arrangement.
Yes.
Earlier this year, and I want to be specific, January 5, 2021, the Director General of the GES addressed the press conference and laid out the academic calendar for the 2020-21 year. And then they told us when the first year students will go, that was March, and then when the second year and the third year students will go to school, and the plan to gradually phase out the free SHS program. The students were in school. They were asked to go home, and then they return on a particular day. It is on the day that they are reporting that they are told that they have to go back. Now, GES has a structure. CHAS is an institution. GES communicates with CHAS. GES gives the impression that CHAS advised them. CHAS advised them to ask the children to stay. The suspicion is that CHAS is either covering up or government is using CHAS to cover up, because there's been an issue about food supply to schools across the country. 3 weeks ago, CHAS issued a statement. It was a joint statement by CHAS, NAGRAT, NAT, and then CCT, that's the Concerned Teachers Association of Ghana, that if government does not ensure that schools have food, they will advise themselves. Then unfortunately, when students are supposed to report, we are hearing that one batch should stay at home. I also know that some of the schools have sent notice to government that because of space, if the final year students come and that is not addressed, some of the first year students will sleep on the floor. These are real facts. CHAS may not be openly speaking to, but are talking to the media on the quiet. This is the reality I am painting to you.
My brother, with the issue of first-year students having to sleep on the floor when the final year students come on board, I would disagree with you on that premise for the simple reason that, you see, there has been this expansion of dormitories and these classrooms. So let me limit myself to this expansion of this, how do you call it, dormitories. So they having to sleep on the floor or something, I don't think so. But the whole issue is this. Like I said in my initial statement, is that I am totally disappointed. It's just like the CEO of Kolebu having to say something when the Ghana Health Services, which is an, let's say the director of Ghana Health Services gives a directive, and the director of Ghana Health Services now comes in and say that upon the advice of Kolebu, it's at least it doesn't really, to be fair and to be honest, I don't think it is a true reflection or a true picture that we are painting.
Expose an attempt to mislead the public, but communication gap or management has really brought us here, because GES will not take a decision to allow final year students under one of the flagship programs by Nana Akufo-Addo's government to stay at home without the explicit blessing or support of the Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Education will not also act on this without understanding how the presidency will react to this, because it's a national issue and there's the backlash. Where do we put the blame? It cannot stop at, let's say, the GES or the sector ministry.
Yes, even CHAS, it cannot stop with the conference of head of assisted schools and the like. The whole thing is that, to be honest, and my brother, some of these days we find it a bit difficult, but the fact is, it is not.
Are you stopping short of saying that government is failing to manage the free SHS program? Because you have monitored social media, I strongly believe, and you have seen the reaction that the conclusion is government, and let me use this word, messing up the sector.
My brother, not at all. That one has nothing to do with the government. I believe that it is some form of some lapses in the
4 years on or 3 years on.
Within the Ghana Education Service.
Why are you running away from speaking the truth and want to limit it to the public sector?
No. The point is, my brother, the government, through the Ministry of Education and its agency being the Ghana Education Service, you know for a fact they are the people that run education in our system or in our jurisprudence or something, in our jurisdiction. Now, what would the government per se do? The fact is this, is the Ghana Education Service that runs all this education in our system. So why then do you come and blame the government? Why do you blame the government? If there is anybody to blame, I believe it's Professor Opoku Amankwa, who happens to be the Director General of Ghana Education Service, because you cannot tell me that throughout days for reopening, he was not in the knowing as to whether or not the children would not be able to get to school or be admitted, or yes, be admitted that very day till the 5th day of May. What stopped them from just coming out with some form of a press release indicating same? But you would have to let them travel all the way from wherever they reside to their respective schools. And what has this government got to do in this management of free SHS? You see, the whole idea is this. If for nothing at all, for the first 4 years, or for the first 3 years, I would say for a fact that this government had been able to do exceedingly well, unlike in the 2015 budget, where a previous government indicated in its budget statement that 2015, this money went to the
schools.
Yeah, schools. For us, the only time they paid their fees was a one-term school fees. One term, not even that one was even for day students. You see, so
but at that time, no parent said that our children's future is being threatened by the inconsistency in managing when they should report and when they should not report. Everything was perfect. We didn't hear any complaint from parents. And even if they failed to address it, at least parents were assured that the schools were going to give the sustained program that has always been the norm to ensure that they get the best tuition under proper condition to write their exams. And so this correlation really doesn't sit well with anybody listening to you.
That is, you are entitled to your own opinion, and I can't begrudge you on that. the very first time parent experience a threat in the educational ladder or the educational path of their children was when a child who had gotten 34 was not enrolled at the senior high school.
They did not get the opportunity to go to secondary school.
Did not get the opportunity. But as we speak, 34 people, aggregate 34, has even been enrolled. So what are we talking about?
So 100% plus for that. But the object of getting the child the advantage to be enrolled at a secondary school is to ensure that that child gets the needed tuition to learn. The issue at stake now is that there seems to be some level of confusion, and that is not properly being managed. And government is not taking that responsibility and wants to pass it on for the sake of comfort. Now, let's look at the reality on the ground. Some few weeks ago, the Buffer Stock Company was put on the spot. The concern by Charles was that supplies had not come. They blamed it on COVID. Now, the suspicion, and some of the school heads are saying it, but they don't want to come out publicly, is that the underlying factor is that government is simply broke, and government doesn't want to come out. And that is why this conversation about if government cannot foot the bill alone, government should come out and let parents support.
Eric, I don't purport to speak for the Ghana Education Service or whoever is managing our education here in Ghana, because nobody has paid me. I'm not on any payroll of
any of those institutions.
Yes. At least Cassandra Chumampo, for whatever her name is, should have been the best person to be answering such questions.
We have been making attempts since yesterday to speak to her. It looks like we are not getting through because she's not picking the call.
I heard, okay, she's not picking out. I was thinking you said her phone was off or something. But the fact is, you see, this whole thing, now the issue of this buffer stock, where I have not seen or chanced upon any official communication to that effect. At least, you know, when things of this nature comes in, there are people who would also hide behind the scene for the sake of politics, just read or use their political lens to view whatever they want to. So the fact is, to be honest with you, you see, when things of this nature goes on like this, it makes some of us have difficulty in communicating. I would say it. You get it? It's so hard. Because, come to think of it, well, this whole thing, now parents send their children to school and they are told to go back to report on 5th May or something like that. How do you expect me, as a national communication team member of the ruling government, to come and sit here and defend what?
In fairness, it's appreciable that you are sincere enough with addressing this particular issue, because somebody sent me this text. We'll be speaking to former Deputy Minister of Education, Alex Treme, briefly on this. Somebody sent a text message. Ni Taki Welbeck said, they blame GM for every lapses, yet under the Akufo-Addo, they blame the public and civil servants. You respond to that, but let me speak to Alex Treme. Alex, good morning and thanks for joining us this morning. I'm still trying to see if Alex is on the line. Alex Treme is a former Deputy Minister for Education. Alex, good morning again. Okay, so while they are making the effort to make sure he can hear me, how do you respond to this? Because the reality is, if this embarrassment has been caused and government admits that, look, there was a failure along the line, people should not sit at still be at post. I'll read one of the text messages saying that, how do you keep people at post? The taxpayer is paying that fellow, and there are these blunders, and then we just complain and allow things to move on.
You see, Eric, I don't know the name of the tester, but the fact is,
it's called Ni Taki Welbeck.
Yes, so Ni Taki Welbeck. We read politics into everything that we do here in this very country. What has JM got to do with this issue at hand?
The import of what Ni Taki Welbeck said is that under a certain regime few years ago, anytime there was any mistake, the blame was at the doorstep of government, or let's say John Mahama. And so whether it is Dumso or whatever, institutions were supposed to operate. And so when we shift those blames to those outside the government structure, i.e. appointees and so on, it looks as if we choose and pick how we address national issues.
In effect, Ni Welbeck was saying that during the regime of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, there was a need for us to have blamed the institutions rather than him. Is that not the case?
That is what you are doing now.
No, Max, is that not the import of what?
Yes, that is the import.
So can I also say that is where the equalization comes in, and then we shift or we move from the relevance of the whole thing that we need to discuss, and then it's like,
you hold on. Alex is on the line. I don't want to miss him again. Alex, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
It's been a while. You are a former Deputy Minister for Education in charge of pre-tertiary education. Now, after observing how things have gone so far with respect to even yesterday's incident, how did it come to you?
Let me use this opportunity to say hi to your cherished listeners this morning. You know, although we are not in office, we still follow education and how it is run in this country. And I can tell you, my brother, that things are not going well at all, both basic education and secondary education. As we sit here, almost 2 years now, basic education, they don't even have textbooks. And I don't know what they are even learning over there, because they are battling even with the curriculum itself, let alone the text. And this has never happened in this country before. In fact, for your information, for the first time during the NDC under Professor North, 12 million textbooks were procured and distributed to basic education. For the first time, each child got about 3 textbooks to use. And since then, these books have been with the basic education until currently, last year or so, they said they were not going to use those books again. And they were going to, modernize how they go about basic education. And for that matter, they were going to publish new books. And as we sit here, they've not been able to do that. And, every nation that plays with its education means the future of the country will soon be jeopardized, and children cannot move, and the nation will come to the standstill. That is where we are. If you come to the secondary education, it is the same government that said 3 years is not even enough for senior high school. So they were going to change it from 3 years to 4 years. And if you put the number of days and number of hours together, children don't even spend 3 years in school now. And they talk about a long period of instruction hours. You can't send people to classroom, children to classroom, and teach them throughout the day. They cannot absorb it unless you don't even know anything about education. That is exactly what's going on.
Okay, so Alex, so you have tried to establish why you think that some aspects of how the policies are being implemented could jeopardize the future of the students. But where we are now, what do you think should be the best approach going forward? Because parents are worried, and as stakeholders in education, the conversation must go beyond just complaining.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm coming to. You know, children were supposed to grow up in faith, and parents have sent their children to the various schools. Those who are far away from their schools, they sent their children yesterday, only to get there to be told that the children will not be able to be in school today. And they have postponed the school for almost a month. And that is what I'm saying, that if they will not be able to organize everything for the children, that is, the children cannot progress. For my information, I can't vouch for that. But that is what I'm hearing, that they don't even have money to buy food for the children. That is why they have postponed. And going forward, they have to get people who can manage education. It's about leadership. It's not about anything.
But Alex Sherman, let me come in briefly. All of us agree that Dr. Educhum has been one of the well-respected appointees in terms of the portfolio he's managing. Now he's in charge. No one will doubt the competencies of Dr. Educhum. But having worked at the Ministry of Education before as a deputy minister, what has been the structure for communicating to the public? Because now we are struggling to find out who must take the blame. Should it be GES? Should it be officials at the ministry? Or should extend to the office of the presidency, because they take the praise if this policy is well implemented as we all expect?
For me, I doubt the competence of Dr. Educhum, because let me tell you, you know, he was in California and he used to run a public school, less than 400 students there. And he has no knowledge of how schools are run in this country. If you go to California, he has 38 out of the 50 states in terms of performance quality education. So if you want to transpose the same education that they have in California to Ghana, it means education cannot progress. Let's repeat. California is 38 out of the 50 schools, out of the 50 states in the U.S. in terms of quality education. So for me, I doubt his competence.
Okay, I don't want us to stretch the conversation on the competency of the minister. Let's now narrow it to the conversation that at this stage, who do we hold responsible, and do you think government must act to demonstrate to the public that it means business? It's regrettable for to say what happened yesterday, and going forward, these are the structures in place.
It is the Ministry of Education, because they have the oversight responsibility. They propose, or they come out with a policy, and the Ghana Education Service is supposed to implement the policy. So if the Ghana Education Services, we are going to open school today, and the ministry says we can't even afford to get resources for you to open school, how are they going to open school? So it is the Minister of Education who is supposed to take a pragmatic step so that they will be.
Okay, Alex, two more questions. What about the school of thought or the general belief that you as people in government, whether yesterday or today, have sometimes used some means to suppress bodies like CHAS, and therefore the reality is not put before the public? And in this case, there could be other underlying factors, as you referenced, perhaps food shortage. Is it because CHAS is not strong enough or bold enough to speak out? That is why you form governments and you manipulate the system to your advantage for public good image?
Sure, I agree perfectly with you, because the members of the staff are all, we employ them. Whether they are in group or in individuals, we employ them. And so we have control over them. And at times, if you have a government that will not, can do anything like the government we have now, they are tensions. And some of them are afraid to come out openly to criticize the administration. And that is what we have. During our time when we were in office, every month the minister will have meeting with all the teacher groups and explain the happenings at the ministry to them. And so there was no victimization. People were not victimized because of expressing their own views. And now they don't have that. And so some of them are quiet and they are protecting their jobs. That is exactly what is going on there.
Okay, so Alex, before you go, and thanks for your time, before you go, what do you propose should be the way forward collectively?
The way forward is that, there are structures in Ministry of Education. And the structures are that we consult a lot. At the ministry, we consult a lot. There are people who are there, and every year, we used to organize what we call the NAPA. The NAPA brings all people who are in education together. I'm talking about the donor partners and the academia and the whole range of people together. From time to time, we'll meet them and put issues before them for broader consultation. Sometimes we spend about 3 days somewhere deliberating about some issues. If we come out with a policy, it means it is not a policy of the government alone, but a policy of the whole stakeholders, major stakeholders of education. And I think that is what is not happening at the ministry now. People think they can do it, and they don't consult people, and they messing up education in this country.
But those on the other side may disagree with you. For example, the conversation that came up as we spoke to the issue is that you were in government, you promised free SHS, and you ended up paying for only one term and had arrears. And so when these things come and you create the impression that you have the magic wand, it sounds hypocritical.
No, we didn't pay one term. What happened was that I've explained over and over again. What happened over there was that the policy was launched at Utuam, and the then president, John Dramani Mahama, gave a check, and that was paid. And then the supplementary budget, if you look at the supplementary budget for 2016, I think paragraph 199, you see it. There was a projection for the following year. And we lost elections, and we left office. So we were unable to pay because we were not there. Look at, I'm repeating, look at supplementary budget for 2016, I think paragraph 199, and you see the projection we made for 2017. We were not in office in 2017 January. So we were unable to implement our policy for that. And so I get lost. I don't just understand when people say we were unable to pay, we didn't pay. We were not there, my brother. We were simply not there.
Okay. Alex Treme, former Deputy Minister for Education, I'm so grateful for your contribution, especially the recommendation you have made. God bless you for the support this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nana, first of all, obviously, because he formed the previous government, some of his reaction will be a bit critical. How do you respond to some of the issues he has raised?
You see, Eric, I really don't think that Mr. Chairman really appreciate what he said. To be honest with you.
Which one?
Where he made statement to the effect that people needed to be consulted and people are just messing up the education under their watch. They had meetings with stakeholders and nothing of this nature or that something like this during their time really happened. Under his watch, as a deputy minister, that is where really I never wanted.
We'll go there, but let me...
I'm coming. Yeah, okay. Because I just want to make some reactions. Under his watch as a deputy minister, were we not here in this country where because of feeding grant, people, our good brothers in the northern region, had to close schools for a term? What is he talking about? You see, I sat here in your studio.
I think let's situate the issues.
Yes, I'm listening.
One is their failure to provide the funds to run the system efficiently as it should be, you will address that. The other issue had to do with stakeholder engagement, because you know that over the past few years, NAT, to be specific, have held several press conferences suggesting that there's lack of consultation, and so government seems to take its own decision and impose on them. And that is where we want to find out whether indeed that consultation is going on as it should be, given the way forward, because it didn't limit it to the teacher unions or CHAS or other people in the sector, but he said the NGOs, the diplomatic community, i.e. donor partners and so on.
You see, Eric, if I don't know whether I really understand where you are coming from, but the fact is this. We all heard Mr. Chairman making such statement to the effect that under their watch, the school or like perceived...
Everything appeared to be right.
Everything appeared to be right. They were okay. There was nothing of this sort happening during their time. And I have pointed out something to you, that under his watch as the Deputy Minister of Pre-Tertiary, in the 3 northern regions, schools were closed down because of feeding grants. And this same man now has the edge. I wouldn't want to use
moral right.
No, I wanted to use the shenanigans.
No.
You see, that is
the politicians. That's your term. Moral right.
You see, I sat here in your studio to make statement to the effect that I am blaming the leadership of the Ghana Education Service and let's say the Ministry of Education as the mother agent, the ministry who superintend over all these things. You see, we need to be honest in ourselves as politicians. Under your watch, worse things even happen. But to equalize, what do you think other parents who have suffered the pain, irrespective of the fact that the person is an NDC or MPP, will think about this boy or this man seated in your studio? According to so you're sensitive to our plight, but it is out of the submission of Mr. Cheme that is making me go on those arena. We need to be truthful as politicians. Okay. We need to be truthful as citizens of this very country.
And be factual of things.
Yes, now, I will not sit here and say.
How do we, and most especially, let's say you speaking on behalf of the political party that has formed government, respond to the concern that no textbooks, and today GS has issued a statement that no examination for children from KG to JHS3, and so they should use class tests and class exams to assess them, which is a deviation from the norm. The fear is that the structure is being compromised on a daily basis, and if we don't take time, it will jeopardize the future of the children.
You see, Eric, I have a bit of a difficulty here in this very country. I shouldn't say this, but I'll say it. My children, 2 of them, they are at Achimota Basic. They have textbooks. And they issued out a long list of books that we needed to buy. Was it not out of these same textbooks that we had our brothers from the other side, that is, they was having to complain that there was this thing that came up where they were saying that they were some, I don't want to use some words or something. What was it born out of? Was it not out of textbooks which were...
But those textbooks were not approved. That's what government says. We didn't approve them. The minister was in parliament. He says NACA has no authority to punish.
It is only one subject.
No, there are several textbooks.
So are you saying that
different issues with regards to mistakes and assertions that doesn't represent the reality about the people involved and so on and so forth?
As we speak, the Achimota people are writing exam this morning. I think they will vacate some around on the 15th of April.
Have you seen the GES statement instructing heads of all basic schools that there will be, in fact, there should be no exams from KG? Maybe you have not seen it, but
I have not seen it.
Yes.
I wouldn't
so for your information, GES has issued a statement. I will go into
and it
my
was
phone.
born out of the reason that there are no textbooks. Is that the case?
No.
Then I would go. I would go to the GES and take my money.
There are 2 concerns. One concern is that over the past 2 years, no official textbook has been approved for use in schools. That's a fact, because when the comprehensive sexuality education issue came up, people said government was trying to smuggle it through the new curricula for schools. And so there was the suspension in approval of the recommended textbooks for schools to use. And 2 years on, we don't have any official, maybe official position on textbooks approved. So teachers are using books in the system as a way of compromise to fine-tune how they can suit the curriculum in place now. That is one leg. The other leg has to do with the statement that has been issued that there should be no examination, formal exams, as you and I know, for children from KG1 to JHS3.
No, I don't know.
So people are combining the two.
I don't know.
Yes,
so,
but okay, I am just telling you.
Okay.
But I think we've done a lot. He's been very, very frank in admitting that, yes, there's some level of embarrassment because
honestly,
of
I
how
to be,
the notice was poorly managed. He's also been frank in putting out the statement that government is on course, government means business, and government will not joke with a policy intended to create opportunities for young children. And he made reference to somebody with aggregate 34, for example, who has admission in some of the big schools. Otherwise, under previous regimes or under policies which were not free SHS, they would have been sitting at home. So there are positive aspects of the free SHS program, but the challenge is about how it is being implemented and the way forward. We'll be taking a break. When we come back, there are other issues. National Lotteries is on board. Then the conversation about how we need to adjust ourselves towards some of the challenges related to the fishery sector. I will be talking to Nana Dansa Apia on this after we return, when we acknowledge our sponsors. Let me put it this way.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For our Kwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many Accra.
Sure.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check.
Emission, check.
Check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks, check, auto checks.
Brakes, check.
Visit AutoChecks at Koforidua Aquadrum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks, check.
AutoChecks, your safety, our priority.
Check, auto checks.
Welcome back. This is Morning Update on TVXYZ and Wezo TV. I'm here with Nana Dansa Apia, member of the NPP National Communication Team. During the discussion, we spoke to Alex Treme. Alex Treme is a former Deputy Minister for Education. Now, before we even look at the earlier topics I spoke about. This conversation about the teenagers involved in ritual murders, it just came up when we went for break, when Nana said it's worthy of looking at the issues that are coming out of the investigations, the interrogation, and so on. Now, these gentlemen say that they were influenced by a spiritualist they saw on TV. The initial plan was to get human parts for $5,000, and later it turned to killing somebody. I don't know. But that is the statement the police has put out as preliminary investigations. The picture you see on the screen is the boy they killed. Now, Nana, as we wait for the picture of this little boy that who has passed away, you would realize that the National Media Commission has issued a statement on its position. And I'm premising this to Ayeboafo, who says that it's a lazy approach for anyone to suggest that we should go after the spiritualist or the money doublers on TV because they may be wrongly influencing society, and therefore these little boys will come in. Now, how do you respond to all the conversation across different platforms on this sad incident?
You know, my brother, I am also disappointed in the Ayeboafo man. Why is he saying this? The point is, even the Bible makes us understand that evil communication corrupts good mind or something like that. You understand? If children who sit on TV, who sit to watch TV, and parents do not check the content of whatever they watch. For instance, when you get this DSTV subscription and there are certain foul words or languages, when they get to that time, they mute that particular words coming out of their content. And when you go through these TV stations or what have you,
that's the free-to-air television stations. That's how they are described. And normally, it's difficult to put child lock on some of the channels to prevent them from accessing some of these programs that you may not be able, you are not interested in.
Yeah, sure. However, the TV stations have management. And before you go in for your license through the, I think, the National Communication Authority, I think somewhere around last year or 2 years ago, I stand to be corrected though, there was this communication that came out to the effect that where we have people in the presence of these malams or these spiritualists, and then you show them on their TV, your TV station is going to be locked down or something. What do we see? Nothing. We allow this thing to be running all over. And if we are to even go by whatever the police people said, let us give them the benefit of the doubt that that is the submission or that is a statement put out by
the suspect.
Yes, the suspect. And we are to even say that it's the truth. What are we doing to ourselves? What nation are we building where we allow anybody to come on TV? Especially, I know this thing that I'm coming to say, you tell me the person is not here. You sit down on TV and a woman comes in and said, Sika Gele, and look at the way she even pronounces the Gary Gele. And you get low-level minded people going to this woman to as in want of better words, to double their money. Excuse my language. Are we insane? And what led these children into all this? Because a malam comes in there, Nana Agrada comes on and sit down here on TV, and you could actually see the level of arrogance being exhibited on this woman on her Instagram page. She does all these things, and you see her swimming in the pool with her husband.
Okay, so to be fair again, you have raised the issue, but there are supposed to be supervisory bodies. Mm-hmm. All the institutions you have mentioned, they come under the Information Ministry. And then you look at the Bank of Ghana, which also has a role to play. Now, if
the Bank of Ghana,
because they are doubling money, doing all kinds of things and so on and so forth, and you don't know where it's coming from. If anybody brings money, even if it is genuine, it doesn't go through the proper system and then just dump them in the system. Obviously, the central bank should be concerned. Now, if all these are not collaborating, why would we wait till an incident has happened before, or an incident happens before we seem to be showing interest?
Eric, you know that is what we for some time have been experiencing here in this country. We wait until something happens, then
you think something will come out of the talk we are?
Oh, nothing will come out. To be honest with you, what will come out of this? And the only thing is this statement 1, 2, 3 times or something, then it just go off or something like that. At least it is, to be honest with you, it is not fair. And to be honest with you, the parent that had lost this boy, if we are to go by the ages of these children, and having in mind the Juvenile Act of Ghana, I think Act 653 or something, and when you go through it, it defines who a juvenile is. That is a person below the age of 18 years. The maximum sentence these people, if even they are convicted for the offense of murder, is only 3 years. 3 years. But you have lost your son for good. You get it? And in crime, 2 things come to play. That is the mens rea, that is the mental element, and the prohibited crime, which is the actus reus. And all of them had to move into them, like they have to move hand in hand before crime could be established. But however, these people, for now, and I think the police are now saying that they need their birth certificate to establish the ages of this suspect. If we are to even give them ages, because I think they are in JHS or something, if we are even to give them this age of less than 18 years, what becomes of them? Their maximum sentence, if convicted, is 3 years.
So going forward, while we leave the conversation about whether some media platforms should be given to people who are engaging in some of these suspicious activities by way of trying to influence the public to behave in a certain way, which is not normal to our culture. Would you also suggest, maybe in a minute so that I can spend the next time on another subject, suggest that the laws in our statute books with reference to penalties to be slapped on parents for negligence, or the social welfare department being empowered to the extent that when the society or the community sees that parental irresponsibility, i.e. paying attention to how you groom your children, comes to play, we sanction people to serve as a deterrent. Because sometimes some of these children become wayward because of parental issues. I'm not limiting this to the specific incident because it's a sad one and we cannot assume. But the reality is that a lot of children have become wayward because parents have just left them to their fate.
Okay, Eric, before children becoming wayward, as in parents leaving them to their own faith, the point is, 1, institutions in this very country have failed. I will not leave any of them out, particularly the NCA. Other institutions, let's say the Information Service Department and what have you, the level of arrogance, the comfort, the comfortability when government appointees are given the nod, as a result of what we are seeing now. Because, come to think of it, before a child becomes wayward, and that child, if the child becomes wayward, and that person, it's limited when it comes to the media content or what have you, or is limited when institutions are working, where a child roaming on the street could be asked a question or could be apprehended by the police to interrogate, to ascertain where the child was coming from, the housing which the child lives in, or something where the child's parents' numbers could be gotten for they to call for something to be done. And all these things, we are not seeing them. As soon as somebody is appointed, and the person becomes pompous, very arrogant, you sit down there, gives instruction. Look at what is happening in the NLE. So many things. Like I said, when I just want to divert a bit. Just like what is happening in this Galamsey Menis. It will take only one. And this solution is this, that the government should just withdraw this Operation Vanguard. And what the government should do is that every district chief executive should be the one who would superintend over all these Galamsey issues. And when the government through the media gets to your area or your jurisdiction, and we find out that there's Galamsey going on in your area, you will be fired, you will be prosecuted, and possibly jailed. When this thing happens 1, 2, 3, tell me or ask, tell me whether or not this thing would.
But you are suggesting that government is failing.
Yes, what that I'm saying, I'm not saying government is failing, but all that I'm saying is that if I were to be the government.
No, because what you have referenced has happened before. And I'm sure that you realize that the district chief executives are the chairs of the district security committee. Yeah. So Vanguard cannot go to some of these areas and operate in isolation. I'm sure you heard how, how they call it, the former local government minister complained that some DCs were involved in illegal mining, and the issues came and we've left it there. What happened to Professor Frimpong Boateng and all the allegations that came from Charles Bisu's group and so on and so forth? I'm sure you've heard Ochene recently talking about community mining and the fact that it is MPP apparatchiks who are involved and therefore is not going to entertain it. So while the solution is good, you should then be speaking directly to your colleagues in government that look, we are worried and therefore let's take it a step forward.
Rightly so, my brother. But the fact is, be as it may, when we go to opposition, because come to think of it, there's no way MPP will stay in power for the next 50 years. Maybe when we go and sit down there, we will learn sense. Even now that this government is in, let's say, 3 or 4 months down, it's 4 years.
The next phase of the 4 years.
The next phase of the 4 years or something. People are now bringing Agenda 2024, Agenda 2023, and what have you. What sense does it make? Whereas we have a mandate given to us by the good people of Ghana to lead them on. You see, my brother, to be honest with you, I will sit down here in your studio and say that institutions, I will not say the government, because the government, more or less, it's maybe the buck stops with them, but the fact is, institutions, the head of various institutions have failed us. I'm being honest with you, they failed us totally. When you go there, you sit down in the offices and it's like the kind of arrogance they are exhibiting and total disregard and total disrespect for the people that even brought them to power. You understand it? Forgetting the fact that before, you see, let me tell you, to be honest with you, for the first time in our history as a country, the very first time that power that was given to the president had eventually gone back to the people is in this particular administration. Why am I saying this? Look at somebody like Ejay Sowa. Who was he? He was but the MPP Greater Accra Regional Secretary. Look at Honorable Ejay Tebia. He was but what? The first vice chair for Greater Accra. He's not the MCE for Klote Kole. Come to think of it, so many people. Because why? The president felt that there's a gap between where I am and where the people are. So you have dealt with the people at the grassroots level. And now, when these people want to get closer to you, you see some form of, excuse my language, a non-entity who never even went for campaign. In 2016.
You seem to be...
No, to be honest with you, I will not go to any minister and the person will tell me that. It has never even happened. I am speaking for the good people in my party because it is the same party people that brought the government. You understand it? The arrogance of it. When somebody does that, the only thing you are told is whether or not you have an appointment to see the government appointee. The fact is this. Now, let's interrogate this issue. How many people have the phone numbers of these government appointees? Or are their numbers written on trees? For which reason maybe you call them to book an appointment? We are sick as
okay, so let's wrap up. The energy minister says we will not slip into Dumso. He's assuring. GridCo has come out conflicting statements. There'll be Dumso timetable. there'll be no doom. So ECG is saying people in Kumasi must brace themselves for maybe the next 5-6 months for all the problems they may be facing at the moment, i.e. in terms of fixing the challenges facing the supply chain is solved. Are you comfortable?
To be honest with you, when we talk about being comfortable, I don't know, it's kind of a misfeeling, because you see, the people of the Ashantis or the Ashanti are my people. Reason being that they are my in-laws. My wife comes from the Ashanti region. And you know Kwame Budu, the MD for ECG, a very good friend of mine, is also from the Ashanti region. So come to think of it, would this person, Kwame Budu, punish his own people? He wouldn't do that. And when it comes to excess capacity, this generation something capacity or something like that, you and I know that we even have excess than whatever. Because I listened to the grid-core engineer, and he was making statement to the effect that ever since this thing was established, from I think it's from Tema to Achimota, this bulk distribution point or something was in 1970 something or something like that, for which reason that they needed to go through some form of rehabilitation or some form of renovation or something.
What they tell us they are doing is that they are relocating some of the transmission lines. Some of the bulk supply stations also have problems, and they have to go through periodic, how do you call it, maintenance.
Yes.
And beyond that, there are other issues that have to do with the peak in terms of demand. And so they are trying to relocate how they direct supply from some of the bulk distribution points. So that is what is affecting what they are doing now. And so from time to time, when it gets to your area, they will tell you why the challenge exists and why you may have to suffer the doing so.
Which is in order, because from where
and some say that we have been doing maintenance all over the years, and why now that we have done so, and there is the impression that, oh, it's not doing so, we are solving problems.
My brother, in a previous regime, you and I know for a fact that we were owing gas, that was Nigerian gas. And we made statement to the effect that the problem of the DUNSO in this very country was a problem of funding. As we speak, we don't own gas. We even have excess capacity, which is even generated.
Where did this excess capacity come from?
Oh, did it come from this car power or what have you? Or something? Okay, the fact
was it the solution?
Wait, my brother. Wait.
When N-gas was
because
cold,
of time.
When N-gas was cold, was Ghana gas there?
Wait, Eric, you've asked a question. When I go and buy V8 and there is no fuel in the V8, can that car move me from where I live? From, I wouldn't want to show, let's say, in between Achimota and Westland, because of this thing, I wouldn't want to show, well, like, suggest where I live, to this studio. Would it be able to move me to this? So if you go and bring car power, and there is no gas to power this, how do you call it, turbines within the power generation.
The controversy here is that the MPP proudly and boldly says that, oh, we have fixed doing so because it was money issue and not generational issue. But I have had the opportunity to visit many of these locations, the Tema Power Enclave, the Abuaji Power Enclave. I've been to Atuabo at the time the Ghana Gas project was under construction, and the Bui Dam. And I can say that the Ghana Gas, for example, the supply to the Abuaji Power Enclave and the plan to extend the supply all the way to the Tema Power Enclave has solved about 60 to 70% of generational issues with reference to the cost of buying fuel and also the availability of fuel. You remember that at the time when the power crisis started, the West African Gas Pipeline Company said that there was some fault in the sea because the pipe had been damaged. So there were real issues.
We even had issues in this country
dam was dry.
We're even told
the Bui Dam
because
was dry.
Of charging of
so
fruits.
In the midst of all these, if somebody has brought the Ghana Gas project, somebody has brought car power, the Ameri, and so on, and now we can rely on them to the extent that even Ameri is being moved to Kumasi to solve a bigger problem because of demand there. and you want to water down all this effort. And then the MPP has not added more than 50 megawatts over the last 4 years. And then you are saying that all what somebody has done is zero, and that person messed up the power sector. You are not being fair.
Eric, let's say the MPP had not even added one. We have not even added one because of the simple reason that we don't need that one excess capacity to be added on. And this same person,
why don't you need it?
You don't need it because it is excess. You don't even need it. And this same person who is being bastardized. I'm coming, my brother. I'm coming, my brother. This same person who is being bastardized, that is in the person of Kenneth Orata, now goes into the European market. Look for money. And last time I said it here.
How did you get the money?
I'm coming. Look for money. You would say Esla or whatever.
It's a question. How did he get the money? He got the money based on something.
Okay, I'm not allowing me to flow. So the fact is, let's even agree that
when you land, we close. So 2 minutes.
Let's even agree that it's the Osla or the Esla that even he used it as a collateral for the loan. We live in this very same country where your phone was even attributed as a reason for there being doom so by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. That because we are charging phones in this very country a lot, that is why there is doom so. Now, let us say that you made mention of this trouble. I'm coming. You made mention of this trouble, gas, what have you. You have a very beautiful, you see, the moment I walk in this studio, you see, I relax. One, because Abena is here. Two, because of the cozy nature of this whole thing. It makes me forget about every other stress I have.
And so when I heckle you, you don't like it.
You see, you could feel the serene atmosphere. Very chilly and very cozy.
Because there's sustained power supply.
There's sustained
power
supply.
And MPP has done it.
You see, let me tell you.
I want to stop you. That's why, because of time.
Yes. Now, before then, when we used to come to your studios back there, when we were around the Ajenkano, you had thermal plant. This generator. And even though your studios, like a standard studio which had all this, you could hear the sound.
Okay.
Now you enjoy it. See the way you ironed your shirt. Excellent.
Okay.
Explicit.
Thank you very much.
Aren't you happy for all these things?
I'm very happy. Nana Dansa-Appiah is a very good friend. Today he was with me in the studio. He's a member of the NPP's national communication team. He has made some interesting points. In fact, he has been sincere with other issues that may be very difficult to defend, being Ghanaian as usual. And he has disagreed with us on a few other issues. Very excellent gentleman. And I want to say thank you to everybody who supported this. Linda, one of is it Majite? Linda Majite. Thank you very much for being supportive of the production team. Abuaje is, of course, the pillar before we even talk about the rest. Thank you so much. Abena, Nana Abena Sewa, Nana Dansa-Appiah, Nana Bediako Dansa-Appiah.
So
thank you. Bye-bye for now. We've taken your time, but